So we're going to start making our face jugs, and you should have about 4 different drawings that are very expressive, that are going to show the facial features of either an animal or a human or a monster, whatever you wanted it to be. I've decided that I was going to try to do this kind of crazy witch right here. She's going to have this long hook nose and strange teeth, and I'm going to try to make a little witch hat for her. So what you do is you start off with your little vase. You've already opened the top up, and you've added coils to decide how tall you want this neck to be. If I wanted to keep going, I could have a very tall neck. I could even add spikes to the top of this, or hair, or whatever I wanted to make it more creative. So I'm going to start by showing you how to do eyes that are a little more realistic. So if you just barely press in where you want your eyes to be, I want mine about right here. I'm being careful not to puncture it. Then you can start adding detail. So I'm going to go ahead and make my eyeballs first. So I'm just going to make a sphere like this. And I need 2 of them. So I'm just pinching off, making a sphere. Whenever you want to add something, you always score it, which is scratching the surface. Scratch the surface. You add a little bit of slip. Remember, that's just watered down clay, just a tiny bit. Or you can use a dot of water, but something to give it, to help it stick. Okay? And I'm going to press those in there. Put a little water on my finger and smooth it out. I'm going to have her eyes kind of bulging out of her head. Okay? So these are a good start to eyes, but we want to add more detail. So I'm going to add the eyelids. So what I usually do is I start with a little piece of clay. I want them to be the same. So I'm going to get 2 pieces, and I'm going to make a couple of coils. You can roll it in your hand or roll it on your board. And these coils are going to act as eyelids. So I'm going to have 2, and I want them about the same. Okay? So I can add these eyelids. These are a little long, but that's okay. I might have them curl up on the edges like that. Okay? And then maybe smaller eyelids for the bottom under here. So you can have the eyeball protected and make it look more detailed. So I haven't joined these yet. I'm kind of just seeing if I like it. I'm going to pinch these off. So to join them, I need to score and slip. I'm going to carefully do that. I'm going to score where I want these to be, kind of around the eyes. If your clay is really, really wet, you can just use just a tad of water, but if it's drying out, you want to use the slip. It's a little more, it'll help it stick more, but otherwise just a little bit of water helps too. This clay is really wet right now. So I'm going to make sure that I've joined them well. You can't just put them on just like that. You have to make sure you've attached it, because once we fire them in the hot kiln, you don't want them to fall off later. So just make sure you're attaching it well to the vase. I sometimes keep my fingers a little wet so I can smooth things out. You can shape it once it's on here. And then I'm going to add these here. Okay. I'm going to take some of that off. And I'm going to add this eyelid. Okay. So be as creative as you want. Make sure things are attached well. And give it some expression. You can always smooth things out later. Sometimes just one little speck of water does the trick. You don't want to add too much water to your piece. It just makes it really messy and hard to work with. Okay, so I could use the back of a pencil, or I could add an eyeball. You could do whatever you want. I'm going to do this for the back of a pen. Give her some details. Okay, here's some eyes. And then she's a witch, so she's going to have a big nose. So what I usually do is start with spheres. A lot of times if you start with a sphere, from here, you can make a coil quite easily. If she's going to have a big hook nose, I'm going to have that be her prominent feature. So I'm scoring this part. It doesn't look like a nose yet. I'm not going to make the nose perfectly and then put it on. I'm going to put it on and then make the nose. So once again, we scored. We added a little bit of slip or water, depending on what you want to use. And you can press this down and you can start shaping it. Which I wanted her nose to be kind of sharp and hook, like a hooked nose. So you just shape it with your fingers, okay? But you see how this isn't attached well? We need to make sure this is attached well. So make sure that that seam is nice and smooth and connected to the body of this pot. All around. Okay. So you could even smooth things out as you go. You could even use your finger to give her some big nostrils flared. She's starting to come together. Okay. And if I wanted her mouth to be open, so I'm going to make her lips first. So you can also draw where you want it. Let's say you wanted her mouth to look like she's screaming out like this. So I'm going to draw how it's going to be. Okay, and I want her to have these sharp teeth. So I'm going to just do her lips with a coil. So I will score where her lips are going to go. I have a piece of clay. And you can roll a coil with your hands or on the table on your clay board, on your canvas board, I mean. Add some slip or water depending on how wet your piece is. And then I'm going to add some lips. You could have her tongue sticking out. You could do whatever you want. You could make sharp teeth. That's what I'm going to do. You could make her look like she's happy, scared, evil, whatever you wanted. And then you're going to make sure this is connected to your vessel. Smooth things down. Now, I'm working as fast as possible so you don't have to sit here and watch this video too much longer, but you're going to be taking your time, forming things how you want them, shaping things in a direction that you like, adding details, ears, eyebrows. You could add, like say you wanted her to look like she's angry and you had her eyebrows kind of up like that. I could eventually add, you know, like let's say I wanted her to have some hair and I could even make that the handle or her ears or whatever I wanted. I could add horns. You could even do a two-faced one on the back, one on the front. So have fun with it, and don't forget, you can always kind of carve back into pieces too for some final details if you wanted. Okay. So be creative with your jug face. Make sure everything is attached well by scoring and slipping, and have fun.